everyone. I hope everybody is living their best life, and if you're not, please do something today that gets you on the path of living your best life. So today it was kind of like a freestyle food type of situation. I really don't have a recipe that I'm going off of. I'm just going straight off of whatever is coming to my head. But basically what I'm going to be making is a ginger/cucumber sauce, and then I'm going to put that on top of the vegetables. So to make this, you are going to need a blender on deck or a food processor just to chop up everything, especially the ginger. And then on top of that, you're going to need 2 ginger roots, about medium size, some Old Bay seasoning, some parsley flakes. I'm just doing a close-up real quick. Some parsley flakes, some black pepper, Himalayan sea salt, rosemary, and basil leaves. And you're going to also need some quinoa, some wild rice, some bean sprouts, which you can get at any local grocery store, 4 Roma tomatoes, a red onion, 1 bell pepper, and then 1 cucumber, a bunch of just like baby bella mushrooms as well as green onions. And then you're going to need 2 cutting boards, 1 to put the vegetables on and then 1 to cut them with, a strainer for the vegetables, some organic vegetable wash or just apple cider vinegar, a plastic bag to keep everything together, and then a knife. So I'm just going to go ahead and start rinsing off the vegetables first. So I like to just rinse off all my vegetables before I decide to strain them, and as well as like spray the vegetables wash on them just to get any like large pieces of dirt or large germs off of it. And then you just go ahead and spray your vegetable wash, or you can use just regular vinegar or apple cider vinegar to rinse off your vegetables, and then just allow that to soak in cool water. Don't have it soak in extremely hot water or warm water, because I do feel like it will start to cook and you don't want it to start cooking. You just need it to get cleaned off. And then what I like to do is I like to go inside of there and just rub down every single vegetable that I can, just to make sure that it's getting all clean. And over there I already skinned the ginger. Yeah, so just keep on cleaning your vegetables until you feel satisfied with them, and then you can go ahead and strain them. I allowed this to sit for about 2 to 3 minutes, but you can allow it to sit longer if you like. And then over here I already have the water boiling, especially for the wild rice since it's going to take a while. So what I like to do is the same thing with the other vegetables. First rinse it off, make sure I get any extra like dirt or bugs or whatever off of it, and then I spray it down. And then over here you can see that I'm washing my mushrooms. Since mushrooms do grow in the dirt, I like to make sure that I rub them down with water first before I start cleaning them with the vegetable wash / soaking them in vinegar and everything. And I just feel like you need to do that in order to get the extra dirty pieces off. And that one, it was so weird because it was like a conjoined twin basically. You see that one mushroom? Look at it. It's so cool. And now that the vegetables are all washed off, you can go ahead and start cutting up the ginger and cucumber, which you're going to add into the blender. So just chop these up into very large pieces. It really doesn't matter because it's all going to get blended up at the end of the day. So you just chop up the ginger, and then you can go ahead and skin the cucumber. If you have a little, I forget what they're called, but a little razor that you can use to skin them, I will recommend that. Or you can just do like me and just skin them with a regular knife. And then you're just going to cut these up into large chunks as well, and then add those into the blender. going to go ahead and slice half of that onion into large chunks to put in the blender, and the rest of it's just going to be on the side for the rest of the meal. So over here you can see that I'm adding some Himalayan salt. I'm going to add in some black pepper as well as rosemary into this mixture, and then a little bit of water to just make sure that the ginger and the onion blend up properly with the cucumber. But it really doesn't have a specific recipe to it. I'm just following whatever my mind tells me to follow, adding the amount of seasoning that I know is going to suit my taste buds. So if it doesn't, again, just tweak it. I am going to leave a recipe at the bottom though if you are the type of person that needs a recipe or needs a basis in order to make the meal however you want it, or you need a guideline. Basically you need a foundation, and then you can be creative off of that. I'm going to go ahead and leave a recipe or just a estimation of all the stuff that I've used, or all the ingredients and the specific measurements that I used for this recipe. But yeah, again, just be as creative as possible and just allow it to do what it do. And when you're done blending, this is about the consistency that you want. I did leave that off to the side, and I just added that throughout the week onto my meal, but that's how much you actually need for this recipe. It's not a lot, so whenever you read the recipe down below, just, I guess, divide those measurements by 1/4, and that's how much you really need. So I'm just going to go ahead and chop up all my vegetables, really nothing to it. Some of the vegetables I like very thick and chopped, so I don't mince them up or anything. And then other ones I do mince up, which you'll see in a second. And then over here, as you can see, I'm just declumping the onions. I feel like it's easier to stir in instead of having it all in clumps, and then you have to mash them down with your little spoon or fork or whatever you're using to stir your pot. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add in the red bell peppers to this mixture, as well as the mushrooms, because those are the ingredients that I want to cook down first, since they have the most water content. And also charred bell peppers and charred onions just taste better, if I'm being completely honest. And then you're gonna want to set your stove to medium heat. If you have a gas oven like me, then just go medium. You don't want it on low because then it'll cook too slow, and then you don't want it on high because then it'll cook too fast and you'll just lose all that flavor. And then you're gonna go ahead and add in the seasonings. So I eyeballed this honestly. I did Old Bay seasoning, some parsley flakes, some basil leaves, some black pepper, some rosemary, and yeah, I think that's all I used. So I went ahead and just eyeballed that and then just dumped it on top of the food, and I allowed that to cook with it. I feel like when you start adding the seasonings in the beginning of it being cooked, oh, that's just the time right there to show how much time has passed. When you allow the seasonings to just melt in there, I feel like that's when you get the most flavor out of them and you get the most use. Alright, and then you can go ahead and chop up your green onions, which you're going to add in a little bit later just so that you can maintain that flavor. And then after about 5 to 10 minutes, so probably like 7 minutes, you can go ahead and add in the ginger sauce. The vegetables shouldn't be all the way brown, but they should start browning before you add in the ginger sauce. And you don't want to add in too much to the point where it's kind of like an Alfredo looking thing. But you want to add in enough so then the flavor of the ginger and the spice of the ginger gets infused into the vegetables. You don't want to add too much because then you will burn your mouth because the ginger is spicy. and you don't want to add too little because then you're not going to be able to taste it at all. And then at the same time as the ginger sauce is being added, go ahead and add in your tomatoes, your bean sprouts, and your green onions. And then allow that to sit for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes has passed, this is what your vegetables should look like. They're not undercooked and they're not overcooked, but they're nice and soft. And then the onions should have a little bit of crunch to it at the end. Alright, and then after 20 minutes has passed, this is what your vegetables should look like. So they should be softer, the water content should be boiling. And I forgot to mention, but I am cooking this on low heat right now. Alright, and then this is the end result. I allowed it to cook down even more for about 10 minutes. Sorry I didn't show you the time. But your ground rice should already be done and your quinoa in this little time period. So it's time for the shoulder bop test. So this meal, don't mind the appearance. My grandma advised me that if I wanted to take a good thumbnail picture, just to mix all the food together inside of a nicer bowl. It looks a mess, honestly, but it tasted good. It passed the shoulder bop test, if I ain't lying to ya. Anyway, this is the end of the video, so peace, love, and light to you all.